大家好，歡迎嚟到 FM105.9嘅文化新生活之家國生活。我哋今日有好多位主持同埋好多位特別嘅嘉賓嚇。Thank you very much for attending to our FM105.9 Canada Living show. This is Friday night. You're one of your usual hosts, Anna, from Community Family Services of Ontario. Today we have many co-hosts as well as a few dignitaries. I would like to first introduce our dignitaries and then hand over to our moderator, Ben Leung, to facilitate the rest of the show. So let's first welcome the two dignitaries. That's one of them is the MPP from my own riding, Unionville, from MPP Billy Pay. Hi, Billy. Nice to meet you.
Hi,
the other one is Stan Cho from Willowdale, and also our parliamentary assistant of the Ministry of Finance. And, you know, I need to quote that because we need to hone after him on the purse strings for tonight. Hi, Stan. Happy Lunar New Year. Right. And we have many more heads together. Yes, we have many more heads to go through tonight. So without further ado, let's pass over to Ben.
Hi, welcome everybody join our budget consultation. Great that Billy can arrange certain opportunity for us to express our concern and for the upcoming budget. Welcome MPP Stan Cho. We'd like to say a few words before we try to bomb you.
Well, I'm looking forward to that, Ben. Thanks so much for having me. I know that COVID-19 obviously has had an incredibly big impact in our province, and this goes for our communities here and the Chinese Canadian community. And I know, my parents of South Korean descent, small business owners have been hit hard as well, and certainly my riding in Willowdale. And so I'm looking forward to this discussion, hearing from you directly on what support measures will help us get through this COVID until it is but a distant memory.
Yeah. MPP Billy, do you have a few words to say to us first before the consultation officially start?
Well, happy Lunar New Year. It's still New Year before the first full moon. So wish everyone safe, everyone happy, and have a prosperous New Year.
Yeah, we have many guests here, and each our guests representing some sectors in this economy, in this society. So they will have their own concern bring up for the upcoming budget. The first individual I'd like to introduce and ask for is Anna. Would you please tell where you're representing for and what is your concern for the new coming budget?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I am honored to be here. I represent the health and social service sector, Community Family Service Agent of Ontario, mainly does newcomer settlement, mental health, suicide prevention, family services, and psychotherapy. So, in our contribution to the pre-budget consultation are twofold. The shadow pandemic has shown a lot of problems, poverty and family violence and mental health problems being the most prevalent. And this is what family service agencies like us tackle every day. And we've done that for, close to a century now. So we are the experts there. So before we think about, doling out cash to nursing homes and shelters, how about we also think about the prevention and early intervention and in the community ground level one-on-one and family-to-family work through family therapists, counselors, and psychotherapy from there, some mental health budget relating to community mental health. That's one. And number two, I think I'm speaking on behalf of my nursing home friends, where I also came from in my previous career. PSW is let's just say it's not a job that smells like a dozen roses, right? So, people may actually, it's an easy, it's a low entry level job, but it's a high labor intensive job. And it's also, it's a job where a lot of people take it as a job and not a career. And therefore in this clinical pandemic, it shows that our lives depend on their hands, and quality care depends on whether we have persistent high caliber staff. So with this, I would like to ask if there is going to be an improved thinking of investment in frontline staff to acknowledge the fact that it is a career that actually saves lives and not a menial job where people just get a job to get by, because our lives actually depend on them. So we need retention rates and recruitment rates within the PSW and frontline nursing sector. Thanks.
Thank you, Anna. Well, from the social work and mental health, I'd like to talk about business. Joseph, and representing the small medium business and export sector, something to say about?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Hi, Stan. I'm Joseph Chong. Well, actually, my background is from the product design manufacturing. And also, I'm also doing some kind of the green energy business as well. So what my question is, because since the pandemic happened and everything has been changed, especially for the manufacturing sector as well, because what we find a very high demanding, or I would say there is a very big problems coming up to us as the supply chain. So what we want to look into is how the government is helping in order to, even though we have the job for the people, but the infrastructure for the supply chain is not really set up over there. I think government have to put a lot of the thinking about how to settle the supply chain, even though we have a job for the people, but how to make the product done. Because in the past, for the manufacturing in Canada, most likely we're doing a lot of the sub-assembly job. It's not a complete product, most likely. But throughout this pandemic, I think we have to step a little bit further. Means that we need to doing a finished product, some of that. And that will be is very important. But how we going to have enough product, or the supply chain is going to be to give us the background or the basic foundation, have the product make. I think that is one of the big questions I have to bring up to the table today. And secondly is, as I mentioned about, I also is involved of the green energy. I think the green energy is a very, very important for the next, I would say 5 years. Even though because people is talking about the global warming, people talking about the net zero, but Canada have a very good people, good resource in terms of good technology here. But government, because I represent government a few times to doing a seminar into South Korea as well. And so I also look into that, if we can bring up a big manufacturing in Canada for that. I think that also is one of the very high skill and high value into the Canadian market, because green energy also is a high represent to Canada when we're talking about in the world. So I think this two sector also is a very important I'm look into stand able to give us some of the from the other angle, put a budget over there, how to help the manufacturing grow this business. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Yes, talk about supply chain and green energy. Now go back to non-business. We'd like to have Loretta, and I know you have some concern about the non-business side. Yes.
Okay. Hi. Yes, I would like to see actually from the perspective of parents, students, and graduates, as well as from the educational institutions perspective. The reason is also because of my involvement with the York University. I understand that in the past 2 years, the Ontario government has actually implemented a scheme that the universities and colleges will be granted funding according to based on like a performance, like how well they actually place graduates to jobs. But this pandemic in the last more than 12 months, I'm seeing a lot of students and graduates having problem finding jobs, not even like graduate finding full-time job, but also like student trying to find a part-time job to sustain their living. So because the job market is not looking very optimistic. And I talked to some students that they actually have to probably stay and remain going back to college and then university, because the curriculum that they study in the past that they graduate from doesn't actually find that many job placement in this economy. So they would probably have to train themselves to new skills and new knowledge. And from the education institute's perspective, because if you are implementing a grant or funding according to the university's performance in how well they place the students in their graduating courses, then I think that would be creating a lot of problem for university and colleges in terms of getting sufficient funding to sustain their programs. So I think that in this critical period of time, the government probably had to look into some interim program that can help, elevate, some of the, quick assistance to these university and colleges so that they don't have to cut for the budget and then making those students so vulnerable. And also for the graduates and also like the students who are studying now, can the government give them some interim support if they need to remain in schools, like in colleges and universities, to acquire new skills or new curriculums that make them more employable? So to me, this new generation is very important to Ontario and to Canada because we have to maintain a sustainable workforce, hireable workforce, in order to get the economy back on foot when the pandemic is over. So we really look into some solutions, at least an interim solutions that can work in the next 12 to 24 months.
Thank you, Loretta. And from the non-profit side, go back to the profit side. Johnson, you are in real estate. Then what do you expect our Ontario government can do something for?
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you, Billy, and also Stan, and all the other distinguished panelists. I'm just only a subset of the entire very complex issues, and there are many, many stakeholders. But when I look back at some of the published reports from Build and from Treb, the real estate sector is a major engine in terms of the overall provincial economy. There's a lot of related factors to it. And I think it's very easy in the face of escalating home prices and everything to start looking at the real estate sector as a whole and say, well, I think we need to kill this chicken and really attack this. But I think on the reverse is that what is happening in the real estate sector, it is generating a lot of jobs, it is generating a lot of economic benefits. But let's not forget that the real estate is a derived demand. It is derived as economic value because of the underlying economic value that all the other distinguished panelists are involved in, whether it be manufacturing, light medium manufacturing, or technology, or education. It is creating value for Ontario and the GTA areas. And so what I want to look at and what I want to caution everybody at the table is that let's not look at the simple solution, but rather look at how do we maintain and stay the course, the things, the very pillar of our foundation of our economy, which, a lot of people have agreed that the real estate is a very solid pillar. Let's not tarnish that. Let's not chip away at it and use that as the base of the foundation to catapult us into the next new normal. I mean, we see that on a global basis, there's a lot of economies and a lot of demonstrated industries that have survived, not just survived, but actually thrive despite of COVID or in spite as a result of COVID. And let's embrace those and really try to fast track those, but yet at the same time, lean on the pillar of the real estate and all the things that is auxiliary services that is creating those opportunities. We're the biggest market in the entire North America. And so there's something to be said about it. There's something to be recognized for, and there's something to embrace because of it. And I think that that's something that is very important. But at the same time, also embrace the other growing sectors that have demonstrated in other economies that have been able to pivot and thrive and really use that. And I think that, a lot of great stories on the immigration front, a lot of great stories on the express entry. And so there's a lot of good things that's going on. And let's not be too negative.
Yeah, we can, Johnson, we can talk about this in a more extent. I knew that Stan had to leave very soon, and our session will be end, and we will be recording the entire session, and then Billy will be our messenger. Make sure you deliver this to our Minister of Finance, and then we will be keep going and to have our concern from our community for the coming budget. Thank you, Stan, to show up for our show. Hopefully next time.
Ben,
yes.
Maybe we can let Stan to say a few words to respond to what has been.
Yes.
Well, thank you, MPP Pang and Ben, and to all the people who gave their sort of deputations today. I apologize, I do have to go, but MPP Pang will certainly send the message to me, and I will have a wholesome conversation with the Minister of Finance. The cement is not yet dry on the budget, so your submissions are well timed. Just very briefly on some of the points that was raised. I can't go through all of them just due to time, but Anna, we certainly understand it's the social services sector that's really provided a vital role, the nonprofit sector, and we hear you on PSWs. Much more needs to be done. There's a lot going on with the Ministry of Labor and significant resources being invested into the long-term care sector. We've committed to a nation leading 4 hours of daily care per resident. This is going to take a huge infrastructure investment, as well as investing in the trades and attracting talent to a PSW job, which you're right, is not a glamorous job, but it's desperately needed. Joseph, we hear you on the supply chain. You've heard the Premier say, never again will we rely on other jurisdictions. That means strengthening within our procurement systems, our infrastructure for that growth, as well as supporting manufacturing. And you're right, more investments necessary in the green economy, because that is a future and some good things coming in the budget. Loretta, on post-secondary education reform, absolutely, we hear you. This is not the time to go ahead with business as usual as we were planning. Obviously, there's going to be modifications to the metrics associated with the KPIs on performance from these post-secondary education. Minister Romano is aware that this sector has been quite hard hit and the student life has suffered as a result. And so there's going to be significant changes. And I take your recommendation back that even if they're temporary 12 to 24 months, it's an excellent one. So certainly we'll have those conversations. And finally on Johnson, nice to see you again. We certainly don't have plans in our government to kill real estate. It is not just a large economic driver. The dream of homeownership needs to stay alive for all generations. And so through some of the hard work of Minister Clark at the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, our aim is to make sure that we take conflict out of the system. So, we don't tie up homes for 10 years due to complicated red tape. And that all the while, of course, is making the affordability crisis get worse, and look to creative solutions to improve that supply so more people have options when it comes to housing. That's why we're working on that transit-oriented development, making sure that clear metrics, clear processes are attached to the home building process, and recognizing at the same time that it is a huge boom to our economy and certainly going to be a big part of our recovery process. I wish I could talk more. There's going to be some great ideas from this panel. I can already tell that, but let me tell you, you have a huge champion for your community as well as your area in Billy Pang. Billy Pang is somebody I toured during the last budget in Markham Unionville, business to business. This is a man who cares deeply about his residents, and I will tell you, he's very loud. And he will not take no for an answer. And he brings these ideas to me and to the Minister of Finance. And his passion is certainly a big asset, I believe, to your community. And so I apologize again that I have to leave. I do have some other calls, but on a final note, I want to thank all of your community for listening to the health officials during this very difficult time. We will weather this storm. And I know this is an exceptional new year, but Gong Hei Fat Choi. May you have all the luck in the world in the year of the ox, and I hope to see you again soon. Stay safe.
Thank you so much, Stan Cho, and then we will definitely send you some of the key points for tonight so that you can capture it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you. So
Take care. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
So actually 我哋唔係因為阿 Billy 喺度咧，我哋絕對可以信得過 Billy 會將呢我哋今日一陣間再講落去嘅每一句説話咧帶俾我哋嘅財長，希望我哋係可以見到喺未來3月份嗰個財政預算案咧，我哋嘅意見咧係受到重視。嗱，輪到啱啱講完地產商業啦，我就想講又係講非商業嘅，輪流咁樣講嘅交替嘅。Tony， 你係做 Tony 開翻個咪，唔該係啦。OK， 你係做移民嘅，你覺得喺移民方面，我哋省政府可以做啲乜嘢咧？
其實省政府應該可以做兩件事，第一就係將個企業家移民嘅名額咧係增加，因為咧我睇咗今日個報告咧，即係關於舊年嗰個安省嗰個省提名商業類啊，唔係講其他留學生啊或者其他類，好似得19個名額批出嚟。OK， 咁我哋知道咧，其實一個企業家嚟加拿大或者安省嘅投資咧，係對我哋經濟係好大嘅幫助同貢獻。因為第一佢一定要開檔生意啦，最少20萬啦，又要喺城市裏邊可多倫多咧，可能要50萬啦。第二佢喺度會請人啦、買屋啦，可能就其他消費啦，啲細路仔去讀書啦咁。所以我覺得嗰個安省省提名嗰個名額咧係對刺激經濟好重要。 但我發覺喺呢幾年裏邊咧，嗰個名額係好少，因為我周邊有啲客人去申請啦，同埋啱啱睇咗個報告咧，即係舊年嘅報告咧，好似嗰個省提名就啱啱9年年尾批19個名額係省提名商業類嘅名額。咁我覺得呢個名額係非常之少嘅。咁我所以因為而家嘅疫情影響咧，我哋需要新嘅投資喺外來投資去刺激經濟。咁另外咧，我就第二樣嘅就想好快去講就係嗰個門檻啦，因為個名額裏邊咧，好似英文咧有個5分最少5分個門檻，咁呢個都會影響嗰啲亞洲啊或者係大陸啊或者其他有啲英語唔係咁好嘅國家嘅人咧，咁所以我可以睇下省政府可唔可以將個門檻降到4分，唔係完全唔懂，係懂啲，咁起碼能夠將個門檻降低，能夠吸引多啲咧係人可以有資格申請省提名喺度做生意嘅。唔該。
嗱，記唔該啦。我哋第一部分咧就用咗每個人其實喺呢度在座咧都係好多個身份嘅。譬如你亦都係商會嘅，你亦都係搞移民，一陣間再用唔同嘅角度咧再睇睇我哋呢個 budget。下一位Edward，你有乜嘢？Hello，
大家好。我平時咧就係做法律嘅 ，OK， 我啱我做法律嘅practice law 嘅。咁我 evening 咧好多時咧都做啲唔同嘅 volunteer work 咁樣咧。我可以 share 我個 perspective 啦，我見到嘅嘢咧就係而家咧好多 unemployment 啊，好多我以前咧舊年咧唔係好多啲人嚟話我冇嘢做，我要claim 個 employer for wrongful termination for example，right？ So 而家我見好多呢啲 cases，so unfortunately 好多人冇嘢做啦，第一，第二咧就好多啲 landlord-tenant cases 即係業主同埋嗰啲租客。OK， 咁啲租客有時咧就一係咧就冇錢交啦，一係咧就係有時唔戴口罩啊咁樣啲 condominium corporation 咧就想趕佢走啦，即係好多唔同嘅問題啦喺嗰度。咁commercial 又有 residential 又有 OK，commercial 我見安省嘅政府咧就而家改咗嗰個 Canada Emergency Rent Subsidy 咧就好咗好多啦，好似因為以前咧就一定要有個 landlord for commercial 咧，一定有個 landlord support 先可以 apply 呢個 program， 而家就唔需要，咁我希望咧就會好咗啦。但係 residential 咧，我好 thankful for Ontario government 啦，就係pause 咗 eviction enforcement， 但係 at the same time 咧。rent 嗰度咧就唔見有咩 subsidy 喎，咁樣我聽好多唔同朋友啦，就講即係嗰個啲人要交租啦，咁呢個咧都係一個問題啦。咁我聽到好多啲homeless shelter 啦，我有好多時 volunteer 啦，咁就同嗰啲 homeless shelter 嗰啲傾偈啦，咁佢哋咧就而家好多咗 clients 啦，因為好多人冇嘢做啦，咁唔一定係homeless 嘅，咁有好多時咧都係唔夠嘢做咁樣咧，就未必一定 homeless， 但係咧都要佢哋幫助咁樣咧，嗰啲都要多啲 funding 啦，我覺得。咁我想 in general 講一樣嘢咧，就係我覺得呢個我好 thankful both MPPs 啦，聽我哋講with 呢個 consultation 啦，就其實係一個 opportunity，OK，I see a budget as an opportunity 可以。envision 我哋想做嘅嘢，想 Ontario 出年後年時下係個將來係會點樣嘅。咁我諗咧，我希望咧 MPPs 咧就可以諗下我哋 reverse 咁樣諗 ，instead of 諗下係我哋向邊度 invest， 我哋諗下個目的係想向邊度 ，OK？ 咁我覺得咧，第一我哋一定會想 eradicate 咗 COVID-19 啦，因為我哋暫時咧就應該 keep people safe 啦，同埋要 mitigate 啲 problems with the economy。I think these are 我覺得呢3樣嘢咧都係我哋解決咗咧，就好多 budget 嘅嘢解決㗎啦。咁我想講一樣嘢咧，就係頭先我講 employment 嗰樣嘢啦。其實咧唔等於我哋一定係冇 employment 喎。我哋其實好多啲唔同嘅 employment， 但係就好似 Anna 頭先講啦 ，frontline worker 啊，例如 healthcare workers 啊。supermarkets 啊嗰啲都好需要喎，咁我哋但係如果你做 airlines 啊，做其他travel 啊嗰啲咧，咁就冇 employment 啊，咁我希望咧喺呢個 opportunity 咧，可以諗下點樣可以俾啲 incentive 啲人去睇下可唔可以做到啲 暫時需要做嘅嘢，咁可以 mitigate 啲 problems with our economy 咁樣咯。
OK， 唔該晒。喺其他嘉賓再俾意見之前咧，或者 Billy 有冇少少對正話嗰幾位朋友所講嘅嘢有少少補充先？如果唔係咧，我就繼續會請其他嘅人發表意見。
我覺得大家意見好重要㗎。點解我哋要做 consultation 咧？主要原因就係因為咧冇人識晒所有嘅嘢，就係冇人識晒所有嘅嘢。咁但係我哋點解要做 budget 咧？就係因為大家都知道，使錢係一件事，揾錢又係另一個題目，係咪？咁即係大家知道 budget 係講緊 revenue 同埋 expenditure 兩者之間點樣去，未必係 balance 啦，但係起碼即係揾到個啱個位。咁即係各界都有佢哋嘅訴求嘅。咁即係譬如頭先咁講移民咁樣，我覺得移民係會係一個好嘅 initiative， 即係會真係可以 bring in 啲 investment 啦 ，bring in 啲錢啦。咁但係嗰度咧都係相當有限，你19個又好，190個又好，1900個都好，都解決唔到安省嘅咁大嘅 budget issue 嘅。咁但係我明我自己作為第一代移民，咁我都覺得即係能夠可以提供到一啲投資嘅人嚟到去invest 喺 Canada。咁所以咧其實ministry 有做嘅，因為Minister Fideli 咧，佢係即係嗰個嘅 business development 嗰度咧，佢成日都 outreach 去唔同嘅 country 啦，包括 including 即係我哋亞洲一啲嘅國家，咁我哋都希望即係 bring in 啲 investment，咁所以呢個係好重要嘅。咁至於譬如話失業嘅人多，咁呢個都唔係淨係安省嘅問題嚟㗎啦，係全球嘅問題嚟嘅。咁都唔係話我哋今日話可以俾到啲咩 incentive 就可以解決到嗰個問題。咁但係即係我哋都同聯邦不停咁去爭議，即係去爭取啦。因為大家都明白，即係聯邦同我哋嗰個 capacity 又好唔同啊。佢哋嘅借錢能力同埋佢哋可以印錢啊嘛，我哋唔得嘅。我哋可以借錢，不過我哋唔可以印錢。咁所以咧，我哋個 capacity 又有啲唔同。咁業主租客嗰度其實兩者之間我哋兩面都見過，咁兩面都有好痛苦嘅一邊。咁你做律師，你做Edward 你做律師，你做法律界，你都明白，即係兩邊嘅人嚟揾你，你都好難。即係好難去做 judgment， 即係究竟應該即係你幫邊面都唔啱，你幫邊面都啱。咁所以咧就我哋而家係即係嗰個審裁處，我哋冇停過啦。咁我哋希望能夠透過審裁處喺嗰個聆訊嘅裏邊可以解決到嗰個問題啦。咁subsidy 講真其實比較即係我自己去睇呢件事嘅時候，即係譬如聯邦佢俾咗個CRB。咁一個月都有2000蚊，咁其實我哋都不停咁喺度提緊，即係如果你交得到租嘅，即係都同你個業主 negotiate 一下。咁我知道喺我身邊有啲好好嘅租客，都有一啲好糟糕嘅租客，我諗你都見過。咁所以有時有啲嘢咧都唔係話即係一條 policy 咧可以解晒所有嘅 cases 咁但係我哋都希望盡量聽大家嘅意見啦，因為除咗 Central 佢自己本身係財長嘅。議會助理之外咧，我自己本身都喺財政廳嗰個嘅顧問委員會裏邊嘅，咁所以喺製造嗰個嘅即係喺嗰個討論裏邊咧，其實我都有好多參與，因為我哋自己本身嘅 core 有大約有10個 MPP 係專係喺嗰個委員會裏邊嘅，咁所以咧即係今晚呢個 consultation 即係聽大家嘅意見咧，對我嚟講係好重要。
OK 啦，
有一樣嘢好重要咧，就係我想
時間咧就差唔多啦。
我想講咧好。有一樣嘢好重要咧，就係唔係話邊個啱錯，最緊要咧係可以解決到個問題，個個都盡量做得好咁樣啦。
好 ，OK， 我哋第一部分節目就差唔多啦，咁我哋 take 一個好少時間嘅 break， 我哋可以繼續咧，就其他朋友咧去發表喺唔同嘅界別入邊咧，睇佢對個 budget 嘅意見。
好，轉頭翻。
OK， 我哋又翻嚟加拿大呢個家國生活嘅星期5晚嘅節目嘅下半部分啦，我哋喺上半部分咧已經講咗，有我哋在座嘅朋友講咗對於喺下個月發表個安省財政預算案入邊咧有嘅意見。咁而家咧我就想請在座有啲未發表意見嘅朋友咧，Justin， 你就代表好多工人，我先兩日喺節目都同你做緊，就關於有薪病假呢樣嘢。咁我唔知道你有一咩嘢，除代表到你哋嗰個會，或者你介紹下你自己代表邊一個界別嘅，然之後你對個省府有咩要求咧？
都冇嘅。Hello， 大家好，大家好啊，你好。但係即係依樣關心下，大家都公共議題啊、商業議題，其實全部都係聯繫嘅，所以其實大家關心嘅議題我都關心。 但係想問即係 Billy 啦，可能即係之前已經傾過啦，係咪先？即係喺媒體都大家傾過啦。即係呢個有工資嘅病假，會唔會諗住考慮推行咧？即係我哋省政府會唔會考慮落嚟啦？咁即係之前我哋省政府上台之前係呢個自由黨政府係有2日嘅呢個帶薪病假，咁會唔會考慮我哋省政府會唔會考慮推行呢個有薪嘅病假咧？咁呢個第一個問題啦。咁第二個問題就係關於呢個 small business loan， 咁其實其實呢個係幾好㗎，係咪先？即係1萬蚊、2萬蚊去支持我哋小企業，但係有感覺到即係好似唔係好多人攞到喎。咁想聽一聽呢方面，即係其實而家有幾多人攞到啊？我哋政府係擺咗幾多錢出嚟啊？夠唔夠啊？咁基本上就係呢2個問題。咁亦都好開心有機會同大家傾偈啦，今日。
有薪病假有嘅，我有個數字喺度，你俾少少時間我揾翻啊。唔係有薪病假嗰個嘅 loan 嗰度，1萬2萬，其實嗰個唔係 loan 嚟嘅，嗰個係 grant 嚟嘅，攞咗就唔使還嘅。
係 ，sorry， 唔好意思，講錯咗，loan 係咪？
攞咗唔使還嘅嚇，loan 就要還嘅。咁咧就我冇記錯就已經批咗54,000個。咁所以嗰個 application 個情況都幾好，咁就我記憶力麻麻地啊，要揾翻個資料。咁咧就我嘅印象中咧，大約嗰度已經係用咗7億幾，咁所以咧就都係一個幾受歡迎嘅一個項目嚟嘅。
你知唔知道幾多人申請啊？幾多個小企業？
我手頭上就冇幾多人申請，但我就知道批咗54,000個。你等等我嚇。係啦，就咧批咗54,000個，用咗7億7千萬啦，已經係 as of 呢個2月18號。
唔該晒。我哋在座亦都有喺醫護界嘅前線人員啦 ，Betty。咁或者你睇睇喺醫護界嘅前線，你哋嘅需求、渴望係咩嘢？
好，多謝晒MPP Billy。我咧就係不但止係而家做緊咧public health 工作，係 contact tracing 嗰啲啦嚇。咁仲有咧，我亦都係嘉華護士會個會長。咁至於即係喺醫務人員工作嘅環境裏邊咧，第一咧，我好關心咧就係安省定嗰個 Bill 195。Under the name of emergency service 咧，我所知道咧，我哋做喺 front line 嗰啲醫務人員啦，裏邊當然啦有護士啦，又有 personal support worker， 又有呢個有啲仲未係 personal support worker RPN 甚至咧有好多嗰啲其他嗰啲discipline， 好似 health inspector 之類。咁你嗰個 Bill 195個 problem 咧就係 in the name of emergency 啦，好多時咧嗰啲 administrator 我即係意思啲 manager 佢哋啦嚇，就用 Bill 195 impose 好多 unfair working condition，including 即係好似我其實咧有好多護士咧加入咗呢個 contact tracing 嘅工作裏邊咧係 on temporary contract。佢哋係surprisingly they are not even given sick pay. Now this is not acceptable， 因為雖然當然佢即係好多呢啲護士做呢個，我意思係講 health unit 裏邊啦，做 contact tracing 就唔使去見病人啦，所以好多時咧佢哋就即係就 tolerate 呢啲 unfair treatment， 但係 on principle 咧，似乎咧就令省政府咧walk and talk is not together。仲有一樣嘢，我希望阿 Billy 咧 advocate for 啲護士啦，尤其你係 last minute join us part time 咧，希望佢哋亦都有呢個sick pay 啊，因為點解咧？第一佢哋都其實都幾健康嘅。你話當然工會亦都話其實都係有呢個COVID pay 喎，但係喺 burn out 裏邊咧唔係淨係有 COVID 先病噶嘛。 有好多時你係 sandwich generation 啦，咁你又要顧到老人家，好多時咧有啲，譬如我哋做呢個 contact tracing 嗰啲啦嚇，有好多時嗰啲 paperwork 咧，有啲媽媽咧等到要3點鐘，等啲細路仔瞓咗覺先繼續上 online 做，即係我講嗰個real activity 俾你聽啊嚇。咁同時咧，我想最緊要咧就我發覺我喺 public health 做咗咁多年啦，我發覺好多時我而家講來講去咧都係講，即係好多時淨係講 number 喎。其實嗰個 English as second language community 咧，學到真正 health education 嗰啲資料咧唔係多喎，好多時即係平權會當然有陣時做呢個Zoom education 啦 ，in their own language。其實我不嬲都係做呢個 health promotion 啦，我好多時咧我就要去社區嗰度講，用翻我自己嘅語言咧教佢哋點樣做sexual health prevention 啊諸如此類係咪？咁另一方面咧，我想即係主要咧就希望Billy 咧，希望你咧即係講一講個 social system 裏邊咧，既然你而家係 leadership position 咧，就裏邊唔好忘記 gender, race and class。即係所謂 gender 咧，喺呢個 situation 咧，唔單止即係少數民族咧就病即係染到又多啦，而且女人裏邊咧又唔夠 child care 啦，又 sandwich generation 啦，咁 class 裏邊咧好多時上電視啊講嗰啲醫學資料嗰啲，全部都係俾個 upper class 嘅，未必知道喺嗰個 grassroot 裏邊點樣可以做呢個 social distancing 啊，點樣可以做 isolation。當你一家6口住埋一個 condo 啊，諸如此類，講就容易喎，係咪？即係如果你有咩問題咧，Billy， 因為我做咗護士咁多年啦，I will contact you to input you some information about on the front line, including what's in the multicultural community。
OK， 好，唔該晒。或者陣間Billy 先至解答你啦。另外Tommy， 你係一個小商戶，你係一個做緊，雖然商戶係小，但係你生意係大嘅。咁你覺得點可以省乎呢個 budget 入邊俾一啲元素你，令到你可以勇往直前咧？
我大家好Billy 你好，同埋其他人好。我係學Ben 話齋，我係一個小企業家，但係咧我睇到好多佢又而家想幫助啲Ontario 整到好多 subsidy 幫助啲small business 嘅，但係好多時候真係當你入去嗰陣時，好多都唔 qualify， 佢哋啲 requirements 係有少少高嘅。咁如果唔係嘅話，我哋有咩辦法可以幫到實全部嘅 small business？ 第二樣嘢我想問就係，我哋會唔會即係而家今年有一樣啦，但係之後會唔會有多啲嘅subsidy 定話任何嘢幫我哋啲small business 開翻鋪嚟 lockdown 之後開翻鋪，我哋會因為我哋 lockdown 咗成個幾兩個月啦，變咗做我哋啲debt 好多嘢都加埋咁樣，變咗做開鋪嗰陣時候會好辛苦。我哋會唔會嚟緊呢年定呢2年會有咩幫到啲細嘅 business 咧？我係好快好短嘅。
OK， 唔該晒你 Tommy。咁另外講翻大環境啦，Doctor Tang，咁我知道你對於技術同埋環保咧係有一定嘅認識。咁你覺得我哋安省政府今日喺下次嘅預算入邊有啲乜嘢可以提高對呢個行業嘅幫助咧？
大家好，首先因為我遲咗咁就係恭喜發財啊，身壯力健啊，步步高升啊 Billy。咁我咧就諗你哋可能喺個 budget 方面咧都傾咗好多噶啦。我自己就因為我係搞呢個 science technology 咧，我就想話咧，其實喺呢個 business reopen 同埋呢個 economic recovery 呢度咧，其實我哋安省係咪可以多啲考慮有一啲高科技嘅手段可以幫到呢啲business 咧？你譬如我哋安省嚟講，你好多時候大家去個餐館度，大家有一個都係驚住會有個 social distance 呢樣嗰樣咁樣。咁但係如果我哋係可以用一啲high tech 嘅手段去做一個篩選呢啲進入呢個室內嘅呢個顧客譬如喺啲 model 喺啲學校度，喺 啲restaurant 度都有呢啲咁嘅手段，同埋我哋亦可以係有啲係話室內嘅空氣嘅潔淨嘅一啲方法，可以殺除呢啲病毒。咁我哋係咪省政府亦都可以考慮一下，即係從呢啲角度嚟講，應用一啲咁嘅手段去幫咗我哋嘅小商戶因為咁樣可以消除好多顧客同埋消除呢啲商戶，亦包括係學校嘅 open 上面會出現啲問題。咁我就係想比較簡單咧，就係提一提呢個咁嘅一個問題。
OK， 唔該晒郭振興。Alex，你亦都係一個技術嘅做技術電腦方面嘅人才啦。咁你對於你個行業喺省府嘅未來預算，你覺得有咩嘢可以幫到你個行業咧？
嗱，其實就即係正好即係講緊行業咧，就即係我做 IT 嘅，做咗差唔多40年嘅啦咁樣，咁啊睇住啲走勢啊，就即係好多年。咁大家都知道咧 ，Toronto 咧已經成為北美最大嘅 technology supplier， 即係佢最多 developer 喺in Toronto area 係大約係36萬左右嘅。overshoot 咗 San Francisco 啦，咁所以咧，其實咧喺 Toronto 咧就係即係可以咧就發展好多，尤其是 high tech 嗰方面。咁啊 Toronto actually 咧就係一個最 high density on 呢個 AI 嘅，咁所以 Federal 又整咗個叫做 AI super cluster 嘅啦，已經係咪？咁然之後 Hamilton、Mississauga 嗰邊咧，亦都係好多 advanced manufacturing 嘅，咁佢所以咧就 Federal 整咗個即係亦都係 advanced cluster。喺 Ontario、South Ontario， 咁我個 point 咧就係其實咧，因為咧就係即係Toronto 有 AI 相當唔錯 ，Mississauga 其實好多 clean tech，all right， 咁然之後Waterloo 咧大家都知道係一個 high tech centre 啦，尤其是 BlackBerry 家下咧佢有個 dashboard 啊 QNX 啊，佢個 dashboard 咧就全球已經賣咗1億5千萬個，差唔多所有新車都有佢個 engine 喺度。嗰個 engine 咧就係 connect 咗去 Amazon 嘅 Web Service 嗰度啦。咁啱啱大家都知道係舊年年尾年頭開始嘅，今年年頭。咁佢嗰個好處咧就話 ，once 你 connect 咗去 Amazon Web Service 咧，佢喺個 dashboard 裏邊所有可以用得到嘅功能咧，嗰啲 data 咧就可以 collect 咗去 Amazon 咧，咁然之後咧就做到好多 data 嘅 AI 啊，甚至乎 big data 嘅 application。但係佢唔係淨係做 dashboard， 佢做埋呢個 Internet of Things。咁即係好多嗰啲 sensor、smart sensor、public safety 啊，係相當之大功能。咁所以佢有一個技術性上面係一個 breakthrough 嚟嘅。如果安省可以咧，就整個類同嘅 cluster， 即係 for 呢個 BlackBerry， 甚至乎 Mississauga 有 clean tech， 咁家下講緊 zero waste plastic 啊，咁係咪可以咧就做一個即係抌啲錢落去整一個 cluster for 呢個 clean tech 啊？咁因為咧就 Invest Ontario 咧。最近都 spend 咗即係大約差唔多3億去個 Ford 嘅 motor 嗰度，咁就係做個electric vehicle 啦，咁啊即係同3級政府 match 個 funding 啦。咁呢樣嘢其實係好事嚟嘅。咁但係其實咧就即係Ford 始終係其中一個 vendor。其實 Magna 甚至乎咧 Hamilton 啊 Mississauga 好多係 supply 呢嗰啲汽車嗰啲EV electric vehicle 嘅 parts 啊。咁 Magna 咧就即係佢已經同呢個叫做Fisker。一間歐洲美國嘅 EV 係一個 high performance 嘅 EV 做呢個汽車㗎啦，已經做呢個 EV 車。佢亦都同 LG Electronic 咧就做一個嗰個叫咩 EV electronic vehicle 嘅 power train。咁每一架車都要個 power train 先至行到嘅車。咁所以其實佢喺嗰方面係即係好着重。係咪安省咧就即係可以其實安省有好多 driverless car， 譬如 GM、Markham 有 driverless car 嘅 lab。咁BlackBerry 亦都喺嗰邊有好多技能。咁亦都即係我哋嘅Ford GT。Supercar 亦都喺 Ontario， 咁其實可以我哋有嚟做啲條件，如果整個 super cluster for 呢個 EV vehicle， 只不過你要抌啲錢，初頭唔需要抌好多，譬如抌1億2億，咁 facility 嗰個 sector 令到嗰樣嘢 happen， 嗰樣嘢我覺得係即係應該考慮，即係政府喺 budget 嗰度開始喺嗰方面發展唔同嘅新領域嘅 clean tech cluster、automobile EV cluster。 咁即係令到咧就即係可以咧就聚焦，然之後咧 at the same time， 因為好多 university 嘅 student 咧佢哋冇工做，咁阿Loretta 都上半場講過咧就話應該抌啲錢落去繼續咧等佢哋可以轉型，因為可能大家讀4年前冇呢個 COVID 嘅問題，突然間已經改晒話佢轉都轉唔到軚，所以希望喺嗰邊咧抌多啲錢落 university 係最好嘅 innovation 嘅地方，然之後喺嗰度咧就希望抌啲錢落去可以令到 commercialize， 我哋唔使搞幾多個 high tech 嘅，1-2間 Google 就搞掂㗎啦 Ontario。咁另外我想花少少時間，唔好意思啊 Ben， 我搶晒呢位，因為冇人講。咁啊 housing 咧，其實大家都即係 Johnson 都講過係一個好重要嘅名目 real estate。咁當然即係 GTA 咧就即係好多移民嚟，同埋啲人咧啲錢即係喺 COVID 唔知冇地人使。
咁問下 Tony 幾多客啊？啲
係啦，冇地人使啊！即係如果你都知，如果即係冇一個實體店佢可以投資，因為好多嘢停晒，咁一定去炒股票，但係股票未必一定係炒。所以地產。咁所以個 market 咧就令到個地產個價錢即係上揚，咁令到個 house affordability 咧就係搞唔掂嘅 ，alright 大家都知㗎啦。咁而咧就即係安省個 inclusionary zoning 咧，其實我覺得作用不大。阿 Johnson 可能有唔同意見，除非你好似去到 Crop and Mill、Tridel 咁大，佢有5層 tower， 整一層 tower 俾你做 affordable housing。Otherwise 好多即係地產商唔願意係有間 affordable unit being sell。In the same complex， 咁所以其實最重要咧，我覺得既然 Federal 等咗55個 billion， 又話喺個 national housing strategy， 咁點解咧就即係安省唔攞啲即係冇乜人用嘅地，或者甚至乎攞啲 industrial land， 咁然之後咧就 rezone 佢，俾個 municipal zoning order， 令到可以喺 affordable housing。Whether buy or like rental， I think rental 係the best bet。咁反而嗰樣嘢可以抌個 budget 落去 facility 嗰樣嘢，因為好多人講話，喂啲錢上高嘅整晒喺度，好似係空殼。但係如果我哋 take action，Ontario take action，municipal 見到有2個 government 有錢，佢哋會有人拍馬嘅。咁所以我希望喺呢2方面做多少少。
唔該晒 Alex。Jeff 嗱，等你講完之後咧，阿 Billy 就會回應每一位㗎啦。
好多謝嗱，我知道有好多 federal program 同埋 Ontario program 都係即係 provincial program 幫緊而家呢個疫情。咁我就想知道，如果喺安省嘅 provincial tax 嗰度咧，我就知道如果一個人嘅收入佢係2萬蚊到咧 ，provincial tax 佢係俾0嘅，佢依然要俾 federal tax。咁如果一個人個收入係25,000蚊加幣咧，咁佢個 provincial tax 係296蚊。如果佢個annual income 係3萬蚊咧，咁安省嘅 provincial tax 佢要俾326蚊。咁我想好大膽咁講，就係 make a suggestion， 就係我希望如果係3萬蚊樓下嘅加拿大人佢個 annual income， 我哋安省可以其實係免咗佢個326蚊個 provincial tax。雖然係好少錢，我知道可能好多人加埋係一個好大嘅數目字。咁但係我自己從一個理財策劃嘅角度，我知道有我自己好多客人佢係由舊年2020年開始已經係個收入好低，或者係冇工做嘅，所以嗰326蚊嘅 Ontario provincial tax 其實對佢嚟講可能係捱到佢多1個禮拜嘅使費一個家庭。咁另外一樣嘢我知道聯邦嘅 federal program 個 CRB Canada Recovery Benefit 咧，佢總共有26個 period， 咁最後咧就會係2021年嘅9月25號就停㗎啦。咁而家嗰個計劃就係你只可以係攞13個 eligible period。嗱，我知道呢個係 federal program， 咁我就想問下，如果安省 provincially 有冇任何一個 program 可以幫到？係譬如 federal program 完咗啦，我哋安省自己係可以有一個差唔多之類咁嘅 program 係幫到我哋安省自己嘅人咧？或者你知唔知道，譬如嗰個疫情，我哋而家有啲新嘅new virus strains 可能會個 lockdown 係延長嘅。咁究竟 federal 呢個 CRB 嘅 program 會唔會 extend beyond 嗰26個 period 咧？呢個就係我問題啦。多謝。
唔該晒你 Jeff。喺Billy 回答每一位之前，我想再問一問在座嘅朋友，你哋仲冇咩其他覺得你係想將你哋嘅意見加入去未來下個月嘅 budget， 或者先講一講，然之後 Billy 再回應大家好冇？在座冇邊位朋友 ？OK， Joseph 係。
我就想加多少少就係關於正話阿 Alice 講嗰度咧，就係關於話manufacturing 或者話講緊 clean tech 啊 EV 車嗰方面嘅嘢啦。咁其實點解我開始講就係話個 infrastructure 好緊要，同埋個 supply chain 好緊要咧？因為我哋經過今次嘅 pandemic，其實咧發現到一樣嘢就係話加拿大最強，因為我自己本身都係喺 manufacturing 出嚟嘅。最強嘅唔係話將一件 product 係做起佢，一架車都係個 product， 但係因為佢 supply chain 唔夠嘅時間咧，其實咧你係癱瘓咗嘅，基本上你冇咗幾件 components 都癱瘓晒㗎啦，已經你做嚟做唔到出嚟，所以我成日想 highlight 一樣嘢就係話，如果 government 能夠幫我哋嘅時間喺個 budget 嗰度撥出嚟，就係話，起碼喺個基礎上邊。我哋無論你訓練人又好，做咩都好，你總之你係可以 provide 到一個 platform 出嚟，佢嘅 supply chain 係夠嘅時間咧，你就可以完成到一樣嘢。咁嗰啲人就會有工作。你撥呢筆錢出嚟嘅時間咧，其實好重要嘅，就係話你喺邊個基礎度落到點嘅話咧，基本上就可以將成件事做到。所以我成日講到個 supply chain 同埋個 infrastructure 係非常非常之重要。加拿大現在個 manufacturing 有幾部分其實癱瘓咗喺度，就係話因為唔夠嘢俾佢可以冚起晒啲嘢，所以你點樣做都好，你俾錢佢都好，佢哋都係企咗喺度嘅，就係收錢嘅啫，做唔到 production 出嚟。多謝。
在座仲有邊位有其他意見咧
？Betty 想
before everything，我想跟進阿 Joseph 頭先提嗰樣嘢，因為 infrastructure 係一個好個 spectrum 好闊啊。咁其實你所指嘅 infrastructure 係指到嗰個supply chain。咁 supply chain 嘅意思，你係咪由原材料到 product 啊？定係即係你我唔係好 get 到你嘅意思啊？因為我要解話俾 Minister 啫。
原材料同埋到個 product，
即係由原材料去到個 product。Exactly。成個 production line 喺齊度。
現在其實美國就係做緊呢一樣嘢啦，就係成個 production line 去拿翻晒啲嘢翻過嚟嘅時間咧，佢當然啦，可能短時期未必做得到，但係你盡量將啲嘢揦翻晒過嚟喺自己個地方度，有機會 provide 到嘅時間，少量去做 procurement 嘅話，咁你嗰個基礎你咪好咯。咁你咪可以
講指嘅 infrastructure 係指到乜嘢啊？基建好闊啊，又係。
我哋都係 manufacturing 嗰邊，因為我係 provide
係製造業，唔係起橋起路喎。唔係話講起橋，
唔係起橋起路。
因為喺我認識 infrastructure 就係起橋起路，所以一定問你係啊。
做設計嗰方面，
時間唔係好多，不如阿 Johnson 講。
我有啲嘢想加插佢。
阿 Johnson 你話舉手，跟住下一位 Betty 帶到 Loretta。
Sorry 啊，因為你有 manufacturing 嘅話，個範疇好廣闊。我反而覺得咧，政府應該有前瞻，就話未來20年、30年，究竟邊個行業適合加拿大喺度真係喺呢個講嘅所謂 infrastructure 呢個 platform 咧？我哋要揀啊！即係好似頭先 Alex 講話，可能呢個係高科技嘅嘢，我哋要做，因為我哋加拿大好多呢啲人才，好多呢啲研究，好多呢啲咁嘅 university 係做得好好嘅。OK， 另外一樣嘢就係話，經過今次嗰個疫症咧，你睇唔睇到就係加拿大其實有個潛質去做 biotech、pharmaceutical 嘅嘢咧？點解我哋唔可以喺呢方面發展咧？因為呢個疫情咧，我相信呢個將來無論10年8年都好咧，都會係一個停留咗一個趨勢嚟嘅，會翻發嘅。咁同埋有一樣嘢就係話，如果譬如話我最近睇到 Ottawa 有個公司自己係發現咗啲 Covid 嘅 vaccine 㗎，咁點解我哋唔可以support 呢啲咁嘅 small business 或者 startup 去做多啲呢一啲嘅研究，令到我哋加拿大有呢方面嘅 capability 咧，唔單止係救到我自己本身加拿大人 support 我加拿大人，而且仲可以 export 呢個 sustainable industry 嚟㗎。
Actually, Mississauga 係可以做 vaccine 嘅，但係只不過做唔到 MRA， 咁所以咧 Providence 就去咗 Calgary， 但係其實嗰啲呢個我哋可以開發嘅。咁啊 Johnson 到你啊，唔好意思。
Johnson 唔該 ，Johnson。
想加少少咧，就係講緊頭先講過話嗰個房地產業係一個整體上講晒一個大嘅支柱啊。咁樣其實我哋睇翻我哋嗰個製造業喺嗰個 home production 嗰度點樣起樓啦，其實我哋都係幾落後下嘅。相對整體成個加拿大，尤其是或者我哋同西岸嚟講咧，譬如話 Joseph 會知道，即係我哋嗰啲環保概念啊，我哋已經係走慢咗人哋好多步嘅。咁唔係話我哋話即係想係惡化嗰個 cost， 其實係想去點樣咧係有一個 sustainability。 呢個係好重要。咁而呢啲嘢咧就係你唔逼啲發展商做咧，你唔立例，你唔改咧，你唔改遊戲規則咧，佢哋唔會做嘅。因為發展商大多數可能10個發展商一個話我會走前線，人哋唔做嘅我都會攬起上嚟，我會去做，因為我覺得呢個噱頭咧對我個 marketing 會做。不過9個發展商咧都會話我等其他人做咗先，我係個 lowest line fruit 係 bare minimum， 咁樣個例冇咁嘅要求嘅，我就唔需要做噶啦。咁樣喺我哋個 marketing 嘅層面，我哋係睇不但止安省，我哋係睇溫哥華、西岸、美國、全球嗰個房地產嗰個走勢，尤其是 post covid， 佢哋嗰個嘅個 bar 個 level 已經係提升咗。不過安省其實冇喐過。我同啲發展商傾嗰陣時，佢都話：我知道有咁嘅 technology， 我知道有，不過我點解為何需要咁樣做咧？個 Ontario Building Code 都冇指定話要咁樣樣，嚟緊呢2年我都知道唔需要咁樣樣，所以 bullshit 我唔會做嘅，我唔 sorry， 即係我唔需要咁樣，係點解要做啫？你可以 monetize 到咩？你覺得有咗依個 technology 我就可以賣得貴啲咩？所以永遠都係用嗰個錢去衡量
利潤掛帥啫。
係啦，喺咁樣嘅情況之下咧，無論我哋點樣去宏觀去睇全球有乜嘢好嘅嘢。個例唔改，個遊戲規則唔改咧，未必嗰啲遊戲嗰啲 participants 會自發話我想去改。
唔該晒，嗱 Betty 你1分鐘，跟住就等阿 Billy 再講，係1分鐘，係。你未開麥 ，Betty 係啦。
Betty 佢個咪未開啊，即係未開咪。
sorry，試下。我想Billy 留意一樣嘢咧，咁希望個 budget 咧俾啲錢係 train 一啲 personal support worker， 因為我哋好多新移民咧，其實有好多有醫務嘅 experience 啊。最近咧National Institute of Technology 有一個 program 係 personal support worker， 但係佢嗰個 training period 係18個月。即係我想話俾你聽咧，就喺 Quebec 嗰陣時咧。舊年咧夏天，佢喺好短時間 train 咗5000個 person support work。我諗即係我哋啲移民咧，好多時都係個 education level 都好嘅。我想你唔好忘記put some resource in training health service people。Thank you, Billy。
OK，即刻講呢個 feedback 你個 PSW 先啦。PSW 其實我哋喺嚟緊嘅 budget 嚟緊呢4年，我哋有一個好大嘅好 aggressive 嘅，我哋擺19億落去嘅會，我哋希望可以 train 到27000個 full time 嘅 PSW， 咁所以呢一個係即係我哋啲嘢擺咗喺度，即係做緊㗎啦嚇。咁其他嗰啲嘢當然啦，我哋即係聽到頭先大家都有好多意見啦。咁啊頭先係咪阿 Alex 想 media 啲嘢先？
唔係啊 ，Tony 好似想講嘢係嘛 ？Tony， 你仲有冇嘢補充啊？
係啊，係啦，回應翻頭先嗰個PSW 啦，咁其實省政府可唔可以喺呢個省提名名額裏邊咧，係俾多啲譬如留學生啊，或者喺度現在嘅旅遊嘅人士咧，可以即係藉着嗰個PSW 工作能夠申請移民，咁變咗可以鼓勵多啲，因為你頭先講到有27000，但係呢27000人點嚟咧？呢個移民啊，呢27000，咁你靠本地嘅人咧，可能咧冇可能供應到咁多嘅名額俾啲 PSW， 咁可以睇下可唔可以喺省提名名額裏邊咧，係俾啲做 PSW 嘅，俾佢做移民，咁可能鼓勵多啲人咧去申請呢個 PSW 嘅。唔該。
好精彩啊今晚嚇。咁我想問我哋仲有幾多時間？
你講啦，
幾多都有，你講啦。我哋接俾你，全部接晒俾你。
即係首先多謝大家嘅意見啦，因為其實最好嘅地方就係咧，即係大家都係嚟自唔同嘅 sector， 咁啊大家聽完咗之後，大家都知道啦，然之後咧就
你嘅接收安排
就係得一塊餅啦，咁然之後就大家睇下分幾多啦咁樣，咁然之後可能到最後咧就大家坐低再傾下，你哋想分幾多？咁其實政府嗰個角色就係咧，即係每一個 sector 都會埋嚟，即係同我哋提訴求。咁點解我哋要做 consultation？ 就係因為想聽大家嘅訴求。咁聽完咗之後咧，我哋睇數據咯，係咪啊？因為咧一啲概念嘅嘢咧，就即係可以講到好遠好高都得啊。咁但係咧就嗱，即係呢個 budget 講真，我哋通常 project 就講3年，咁但係過去睇過啦，我哋睇過 我哋都即係除咗我哋上一任之後做咗第一個財政預算案之後咧，我哋嚟緊我哋過去嗰兩個咧都唔敢叫財政預算案，因為嗰個變數好多，有好多moving parts 喺度。究竟譬如頭先提到會即係9月之後 Federal 嗰邊阿 Jeff 提到嗰個 CRB 會點樣咧？咁其實唔知，你唔好話講到9月。我哋嚟緊個 March break 褪後咗，咁究竟3月會發生咩事？老實講，大家都唔知，即係等於大家都會問即係啲完成咗下個禮拜，咁就進入翻嗰個5息框架，咁之後又會發生咩事？都唔知，所以我哋先至俾Chief Medical Officer 佢有一個 tool 係可以忽然間踩死迫力，咁所以其實有好多嘢我哋唔知。不過雖然係咁樣，但係我聽嘅時候咧，我就會覺得喺我哋做 budget 嘅時候咧，我哋一方面你會留意到咧，我哋過去呢1年嘅裏邊咧，我哋將整個嘅政府個使費咧分咗2個大 stream 嘅，一個 stream 咧就係 for pandemic 嘅，係咁注錢落去，俾醫護界啦，俾商戶啦，俾學校啦，咁嗰啲冚唪唥都喺正常嘅 budget 之外。咁然之後咧，我哋而家講緊呢個係我哋叫做 code and code 啊，未必 new normal 之後嗰個 budget。咁正如大家都講，我一路都其實我自己本身都同財長傾，前財長、現屆財長，即係我哋都要即係定到個方向啊，幫個省。即係究竟，但係問題就係頭先講到咧，就話我哋要 pick 一啲 industry 去做我哋嗰個 pilot，但係邊個夠膽話俾我聽？揀邊個 industry， 因為一揀錯咧就好論盡嘅，因為你會因為你揀咗一個 industry 之後咧，你會倒好多資源落去。咁如頭先大家都提過，我哋同美國比，我哋好難同美國比嘅，冇得比，無論係資源人口，我哋都冇得比。咁你話我哋點樣去 develop 咧？咁樣，咁所以有啲時候咧，我都覺得。即係我自己唔係讀經濟啊，咁但係有時我同財長傾嘅時候，我都問佢點解你帶我入嚟呢一個委員會？咁佢就話佢想揾個冇經濟嘅人嘅眼鏡去睇點樣去 develop。咁我覺得我好感激佢，即係俾我有機會去有機會做呢一個 consultation。咁聽完咗大家之後咧，我覺得譬如有啲嘢咧，其實我哋係已經起咗步啦，譬如頭先阿 Betty 講到PSW 啊嗰啲咁嘅樣，性教育嗰啲 training 啦，咁當然啦，我哋將所有嘅嘢都從家長嗰度再攞翻個 consultation， 再擺翻落學校。咁喺學校嗰度咧，我哋仍然係希望學校嗰度咧做一個最基礎，因為呢個世界上面除咗宗教團體同埋學校之外咧，冇其他團體咧係會日日咁樣坐喺度，個禮拜咁坐喺度聽你講嘢㗎啦。咁我覺得即係學校嗰個係一個好重要嘅元素嚟，咁所以我哋都將嗰個我哋尊重家長版嘅性教育，即係 implement 翻喺學校裏邊。我覺得呢個係好緊要，即係家長係我哋即係一個好重要嘅資源。咁至於譬如話有特別嘅個別情況，譬如 Betty 提到因為 Bill195有一啲嘅即係漏洞出現咗，咁我覺得咧係應該要同即係 Ministry of Health 去反映翻嘅，因為點解每一條法案都要有修訂案咧？就係因為冇法案係唔需要修訂嘅，咁所以咧就即係你擺咗落去，你先知道究竟 work 同埋唔 work 嘅。Betty 你自己係醫護界，你都知係醫生俾藥學 patient 食都係試下嘅啫嘛，試下呢個 work 唔 work 唔 work 試第二樣係咪？咁當然我哋唔可以攞散文嚟教飛嘅，咁所以咧就我哋要聽到大家一啲專業嘅意見咯。咁至於商戶會唔會再有其他嘅修訂咧？咁譬如其實而家支援金我哋講咗啦，我哋而家有1萬至2萬，咁我諗即係之前我哋都做過consultation， 同埋我自己本身喺 Markham University 都開咗一個Q&A， 咁我哋請咗Associate Minister Secretary 過嚟，咁想知嘅人都嚟咗啦，咁可能大家因為時間嘅原因冇嚟到啦，咁但係咧譬如話僱主同埋就業咧，咁其實除咗而家個經濟比較困難揾嘢做之外咧，有時我哋都睇到個資源錯配嘅問題，即係有人揾工做， 就揾唔到，有人揾人做嘢又揾唔到，咁所以其實安省咧自己本身咧有一個叫做 COVID-19 Ontario.ca 嘅 Help Business Ontario 嘅，咁嗰個咧係會將僱主同埋僱員咧，即係除咗一方面我哋俾僱員佢就小企業咧佢哋能夠可以申請到之外咧，其實咧我哋有另外一個 network 咧。就係幫助大家咧，就係你 Google 啦 Jobs and Employment Ontario 啊，你去 Google Jobs and Employment Ontario 嗰個係 Ontario.ca Jobs and Employment， 佢係分咗兩個 category 嘅，你係揾工咧定係想揾人嘅，咁然之後你 stream 落去，咁喺嗰度咧係幫你做一啲 matching 嘅，咁呢個我哋都希望能夠可以即係減輕揾工同埋揾工人嗰個僱主嗰個嘅 anxiety。咁至於譬如 business 嗰裏邊啦，頭先講過啦，已經有54,000份係批咗嘅，批咗7億7千萬啦咁樣樣。咁商戶嗰個 PPE 嗰度以前係要2至19個員工先可以俾到嗰1,000啦，而家2至9個都俾。咁嗰個嘅response framework 啦，咁我哋睇到大約可以幫到即係6萬個嘅小企業嘅咁樣樣。咁另外物業稅啦，咁如果大家要 engage 物業稅，咁大家都知道我哋一個係直情 cut 咗個物業稅，就係嗰個商業嗰個 education 嗰個 tax 啊，直情 cut 咗啦。咁然之後就減嗰個 employment 嗰個嘅tax 啦。咁呢個係即係冇差別㗎啦，即係只要你係有物業要交物業稅，或者係要 employment 嗰度要交稅嘅。咁我哋都提高咗嗰個額，其實即係降低咗個門檻，即係多啲人係可以申請嗰啲嘅津貼嘅。咁你話我哋係咪可以好似聯邦咁派錢咧？咁我正如頭先咁講，我哋 capacity 唔同啊。咁我哋咧能夠俾到個 subsidy 咧，都係即係有限。咁我哋樣樣俾啲咯。而家就係譬如話電費嗰度咁樣樣，係咪？電費嗰度我哋而家全日都係全日最低消費。咁最低消費係8分，即係8.5仙一度電。咁係比平時嗰個夏季最低嘅都仲要再低，咁一路會去到22號啦。咁即係呢啲係我哋希望能夠幫到嗰個情況。咁譬如話如果係租嘅商戶嗰個 eviction 嗰度，我哋又即係一路 stop 咗啦，直到嗰個嘅emergency 完咗為止啦。咁所以其實喺好多嘅稅收嘅減免嘅裏邊，我哋就唔係話用俾錢嘅方式。我哋係用收少啲嘅方式。咁頭先就提到話可唔可以將佢減到，即係將嗰個嘅個人入息稅喺省嗰度去到3萬咧？我會同呢一個，即係呢個係我其中一個覺得好有趣嘅地方嚇。咁我都會同財長傾下，即係究竟會對整個嘅 budget 會有幾大嘅 impact。咁另外環保咧就其實我由上任開始一路已經同好多嘅唔同嘅包括即係唔想講牌子啦，即係好多電動車嘅公司咧都有開會講緊無人駕駛嘅汽車嗰個 development 喺安省嘅。其實係有嘢喺度做緊嘅，不過咧就冇擺喺台面，亦都冇擺喺新聞嗰度。咁但係其實我哋一路咁，我哋都希望喺嗰個嘅環保嘅上邊咧，即係比較全面一啲去進行，就唔係即係修修補補嘅方式。咁所以咧就譬如 technology 而家，譬如要 screen 一啲嘅人士去入一啲嘅建築物或者入一啲嘅場合，而家其實冇其他嘅科學嘅 support 俾我哋睇到用咩 technology 可以解決嗰個問題。咁我哋用咗好多錢去俾學校去加強嗰個通風系統就有。咁加強啲 air filter 就有，請多咗幾千個老師去減低班房裏邊嘅學生數目就有，咁上一個學期我哋今年因為而家未曾開晒學啦，in person，咁我哋就未有最新嘅數據，咁最新嘅係上一個學期嘅數據，以200萬安省嘅公校學生嚟講咧，就有110萬多啲係 in person 翻學，即係大約係50幾個%嘅人去咗網課，咁雖然親身翻學，咁40幾個%嘅人就網課，咁所以我哋亦都請咗幾百個老師啊、校長啊咁樣樣，咁其實呢啲冚唪唥都係希望咧俾到省民佢哋一方面喺個教育上邊，譬如對家長嚟講佢有得揀，因為啱先同即係約克區教育局傾過，咁如果你留意到約克區教育局咧，就你可能會聽到 in person 嗰啲揀咗上網，佢而家都未可以上到網住，因為咧有一紮人 flow 翻入學校，又有一紮人 flow 翻上網啊。咁咧一個對流咧，嗰度講緊好多人。咁嗰度喺個 management 嘅上面咧，對教育局嚟講，亦都係一個 challenge。咁所以其實呢一個我哋一方面我哋俾到大家有選擇嘅同時，但係其實咧大家都知道，即係俾咗選擇，大家就會構成一啲嘅 turbulence。咁然之後喺嗰裏邊咧，我哋就希望即係盡快可以 implement 到啦。當然，咁喺嗰個疫情嘅裏邊，譬如 vaccine 嗰個我哋而家暫時傾，但係未有具體嘅結論，因為即係仲有好多嘢去討論啊。咁我哋都用咗好多時間喺個 caucus 去討論呢一方面。咁但係就最多嘅時間，我哋都係討論翻即係嗰個開同埋點樣開。咁我諗大家都可能會留意到，嚟緊嗰個開嗰個 framework 咧，會同之前嗰個 framework 有少少唔同。以前嗰個 framework 係 small business 係唔開到嘅，咁嚟緊個 framework 咧係 small business 會開到嘅，但係唔同嘅顏色個 capacity 就唔同。咁變咗咧就嗰啲 small business 咧，佢哋仍然係可以，即係以前就話好似係啲大型嘅企業先至可以可以繼續某程度上營運。咁而家其實大小行業咧，都能夠咧可以即係有某程度上營運，咁亦都係因為咁，我哋都係鼓勵大家即係做多啲本地消費，咁啊打電話去攞定，咁然之後做個 curbside 又好，或者可以有限量嘅即係入去個店裏邊買嘢購物又好咁樣咯。
其實我俾個機會我做會計嘅，講講我會計界咧有啲咩嘢嘅要求啦。其實我想做少少溫故知新。喺好耐之前，我哋安省有 Labour Sponsor Fund， 咁即係話咧係俾任何人投資一啲喺着重係冇乜人肯投資嘅一啲用人好多嘅企業行業入邊，如果你蝕咗咧或者冇回報咧，你就好多嘅 tax write off。呢個咧就鼓勵咗好多人投咗落去，啲錢咧就去咗 tourist 俾去請人嘅。另外咧，安省以前有一種叫做 multiple unit residential building。係講緊40年前，你大家揸車行過 Dunfermline Parkway，見到兩邊好多好大高嘅建築物咧，嗰啲就叫做 MERP， 就係話咧邊個起啲廉租屋出嚟，政府可以容許佢 fast write off 個 depreciation， 即係通常買物業你每一年只可以將物業價值嘅4%咧係 write off against 你嗰個 income， 但係如果呢種咁嘅收租係容許大家係快啲 write off， 咁啲人覺得有個 incentive。佢哋就會起啲低收入嘅人士住嘅居屋一個方法。另外一樣嘢都要考慮防止屋價嘅上升咧。安省可以比其他省份更早提出，如果你揸嘅物業時間越短，你個 capital gain inclusion rate 就越高，令到嗰啲人咧開始唔好今日買聽日賣，炒興個市場。你買咗翻嚟揸住一段時間先賣咧，你基本上你可以低稅率。但係你買翻嚟喺最短時間賣出去咧，你嘅稅率係最高嘅，咁亦都可以去減免人哋係個炒風。咁另外一樣嘢講開製造業點樣幫忙製造業咧，可以考慮就係話任何買 manufacturing recruitment， 無論係新係舊，唔係用緊嗰個慢嘅或者30或者40% 嘅嗰個 depreciation rate off， 係準許佢起碼一半，好似而家買電腦一樣，或者綠色環保事業嘅器材咧，聯邦政府係准許買翻嚟嘅器材一年 write off 嘅，但係安省政府未得嘅。安省政府個 write off against 個 recruitment 咧係慢過聯邦嘅。咁我哋安省可唔可以做一啲嘢出嚟，鼓勵企業趁而家低息嘅時候多買器材，多去製造嗰個製造業嘅infrastructure 出嚟，然之後喺佢哋賺到錢嘅時候咧，佢喺稅務上有少少優惠，咁就有人咧係好樂於投資製造就業噶啦。
好，相當之好啊！喂，咁如果大家仲有啲咩 point 咧，就忘記咗，完咗呢個 session 咧，你可以掟俾我，我就 collectively send 翻俾阿 Billy 同埋阿 Central 好嘛？咁今日好多謝晒阿 Billy 同埋約埋佢個同僚阿 Stan 同我哋做一個 public consultation。好
多謝各位參加今日，亦都好專業地俾咗啲意見我哋嘅省政府，希望我哋住喺呢個省又冇住錯啦，唔使搬省啦，希望繼續住落去啦。
好，咁唔該晒咁多位，拜拜。
拜拜。
拜拜。